Testing 1 2 3 4 5.
Wow, hello and welcome or welcome back to the stream. Aren't we all just excited for the weekend to be over and to go back to work tomorrow? It sounds like fun. Every morning I just love waking up and knowing that I have to go and toil in a job that I don't want to be at. It's fun. It's great. It's exciting. Yeah. Sorry, just me having an existential, whinge. What is up? What is up? I don't know. I think the moon is up at the moment. Apparently, Betelgeuse is supernovaing currently or soon, or I don't know. They've been saying that since I was a little kid though, so who knows? Does it have enough mass to make a black hole? We don't know. It could be exciting. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I am so rambly tonight. Let's get into the crossword, see if I can try and focus my little ADHD riddled brain. Spelling bee. Beetlejuice is supernovae. It's not spelt like Beetlejuice, like the demon from the movie with Winona Ryder. It's a star. It's a sun. Yeah, that's how it's spelt. Good job, you did it. Oh no. We have... You watched ReZero. Good job. So we have to use the letter R, and the other letters we have A, I, V, G, B, N. How do you spell agrarian? Oh, that's got an E in it, doesn't it? Why isn't it working? Oh, it is working. I just couldn't see the letters going. Agrarian? I don't think that's how you spell it. I think it's got an E in it. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was just seeing if maybe the Americans spelt it in a different way. I don't know. Look, I'm trying my best. Raging. I know, I'm raging. Let's go. I'm in a constant state of... Oh, it's not on the screen. See, I always do this. I changed the things around on my OBS, so... There you go. I one of these days I will not be dumb. Oh, we can have virgin. Is there lots of virgins in the chat? Just joking. It doesn't matter if you're a virgin anyway. It is not something to be ashamed of. You know, it's just, you know, there's a lot of virgin discourse around these days. I don't know. People seem... Oh, we love a bargain. We can have the word bargain. Not a word. What do you mean bargain isn't a word? Did I spell it wrong? B-R-B-A-R-G-I-N. Bargain. Is that not how you spell bargain? Not in the word list. Virginia. We can have Virginia, but that's a state, and it wouldn't let me have Iran the other night, so... West Virginia. Man, mama. Take me home. We can have Ribena, but it definitely won't recognize that. Is Ribena Australian? I don't think it is. I think it might be British. Oh, I spelled bargain wrong. That would make more sense. Me spelling a word wrong, never. Well, it is a word. We can have bargaining. Bargaining agreements. We won't get into to those. Oh, we got 29 points. Apparently we are good. Yeah, I was spelling out without this. I was spelling bargain without the second A because I am apparently dumb. And that's okay because it's all right to be dumb. It's okay to be special on this stream. We encourage it. Hello, Hyperbovian on Kick. Nice to see you. Ready to start solving. I guess I am. I mean... Word before flaw or attraction. Fatal. Fatal Attraction. I know that movie. Pickle liquid. Vinegar? Or brine. It could be a brine, right? Irresponsible thing to drop around small children, perhaps. Falafel? I don't know. What starts with? Cover of night. Link with. Full of foliage. Leaves? No. That would just be... Can you have leaves? Or do you need to spell it with a V? I don't know. Maybe the first one isn't fatal. Horse-shaped Greek letter. Horse-shaped Greek letter. Leaves is the plural for Canadian people. I know. I'm thinking maybe this is wrong. Fatal flaw, fatal attraction. Critical flaw. C-R-I. Pie. Kind of horse-shaped. Yeah, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just thinking of Greek, because that's like alpha, beta, delta. I don't know the Greek alphabet. Like, I don't. I know it's kind of similar to Cyrillics in some way, but I don't even know what those are called. I know what sounds they make. I just don't know what they're called. So, I mean, good luck to us, I guess. I think this like has a frat theme, right? Because it's like a stereotypical frat dude. That's that Ludwig guy. Did you see what he did to his friend? Probably shouldn't get into that. Probably shouldn't go after one of the biggest Twitch streamers. Probably not a good idea. Link with. Pickle liquid. A pickle liquid is a brine, right? Because that fits. But there's no word that goes F and then B. So that's... Horseshoe shaped Greek letter. Literary theme is a trope, maybe? Let's just play around, see what we get. Stereotypical frat dude. Omega is the horseshoe. A stereotypical name for a frat dude. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. A Chad. Yeah, we've got some of these wrongs because none of these down are making sense. Word before flaw or attraction. I put fatal just because of the move of fatal attraction. Yeah, we don't know what we're doing. We've really buggered this crossword. I don't see, this must be wrong because it doesn't make any sense. What? I don't think I've ever stuffed one up this badly before. What's one down? One down is irresponsible thing to drop around small children, perhaps. F-bomb. That could be F-bomb, right? Yeah. All right, let's try that. So this isn't trope then. A literary theme that starts with an M. Could it be a me? No, that's not a literary trope. A literary theme, sorry, a literary theme. So it's not genre, it's not trope. It could start with an M, perhaps. A literary theme that starts with an M. All right. So, like a stereotypical frat dude in slang. I don't know anything about like that type of culture. Well, let's just... You're Australian too, so you have no idea. So we're just all clueless. I'm really glad we don't have frats in this country. Imagine how bad like going to uni would be and having to deal with like... I mean, I was gonna say imagine having to go to uni and deal with our drunk guys, but we're always drunk, so that's okay. we don't need to make special groups to get drunk. We just get drunk. We don't even go to our uni bars to get drunk. We just go to all the pubs around the unis. It's like, just, you know. Cover of night. 2 is armor. Oh, yeah, because they don't smell armor properly. You're right. And it covers a night. Oh, because night is spelt like night. Duh. I think this is a... Ooh. Can you... I always blame the computer like it's the computer's fault, but it's my fault because I don't know how to not be shit. 8 motif. Oh. Help me. Could motif be spelt with a... No, hang on. What is the question for 5? Full of foliage, so I thought it could be leaf, but then I thought it could be leaves, but then it would be spelt like with a V-E-S, wouldn't it? Or do Americans spell it F-S? Because, I mean, they are American. Let's just try and... This is probably wrong, though. The you in the Rolling Stones lyric, don't you want to weep, all your kisses still taste so sweet. Nine, like a stereotypical frat dude. Can we have bros with a double O or with a double R? I don't know. They probably spell it leaves. Yeah, I'm just going to try and think like an American. Because they do have really different like grammar and spelling rules over there. So I just don't know. Like a stereotypical frat dude in slang. Bros with an E? Yeah, let's try that actually. Ooh. Alright, well. The award for being smart goes to me, I guess. Angie. The end's in sight. Keep trying. Oh wait, what's 3 down? Let's try and get this and then we can... Okay, 3 down is link with. Alright, well I probably got this one wrong. 6 across. Pickle liquid. I wrote brine. Because that was what I could think of. Are we just gonna end, like, give up on this? I feel like I'm too dumb for this. Tie to. Oh, that is, so that's already probably right. I forgot you could have 2 words joined together. Okay. 3 down is correct in your opinion. Okay. Do we want to just give up? Oh my goodness, why? Leaves. Leaves is my favorite answer. Full of foliage. Leaves. Is it that last corner S? F-bomb is the F word. Yeah. Why maybe? Leafy. Oh, why do I always do? Just, I know, I made a mistake. Okay, Mr. Computer, leave me alone. I'm very... You did it! Yeah, we can go back and have a look at the answers. So, it was leafy and broy. It was leafy and broy, and that makes no sense. But yeah, ricochet is correct. The F-bomb was for the F word. I don't know why. I think in an Australian newspaper, they would just let you say fuck. Honestly. Actually, no. Some old people would probably complain because... Yeah. All right. So this was the answer. So we were really close. Leafy and broy. Yeah, who would have thought? Yeah, we got some new emotes, guy. Oh, okay, well. Apparently we weren't close. Well, we were 1 letter off, and we don't speak American, so we were really close. Because we had bros and leafs instead of broy and leafy, which, by the way, like, none of those are words, so... You know... Well, Mr. Kick Friend, you can pay us out all you want, okay? We speak the King's English or Australian English around here, so... Okay? That's the way it is in this neck of the woods. Alright, let's try this game so I can be even more stupid. Let's go. Connections. It's an expression. It's an expression. It used to be the Queen's English, but then Lizzie died. It just means like formal English, you know, fancy English, correct English, posh English, if you will. It's just something you use to like, yeah. Okay, so we have to find 4 themes and the words are You just Googled broy and apparently it is a word. Yeah, but is it a word in the Oxford Dictionary or is it a word in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which is the American dictionary, and not a real dictionary? Let's check. Check that. Let me know which dictionary it's in because I have questions. All right, so we've got to find 4 themes, and our words are earthworm, float, mushroom, moonwalk, jump, sundae, like the ice cream, puddle, startle, shake, robot, mud, floss, jerk, cabbage patch, split, bolt. It said it's mainly used in America. Yeah, well, that's like, yeah, I've never heard it. And I don't remember the last time I even watched something American. I've just been watching like anime and K-drama. So I don't know. I don't know what those people are doing. There's nothing going on in my brain. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate assessment. There's something strange about Miriam. I'm not talking about that show. Oh my goodness. K-drama? Yeah, Korean drama. I like it. It's good. I enjoy it a lot. All right, I don't even know where to start with this. We could go bolt, split. Puddle, mud. Mud, puddle, bolt, split. Are all stuff to do with storms? That's probably not it though. You forgot about there's something about Miriam. That whole show was so unethical and just scary. Like, yeah, they would never be able to make that show today. Like, there's no way. Moonwalk, float. All right, let's think about things we can do in space. Moonwalk, float, jump. Robot, that's probably not it. I speak so proper. I have the most, well, I probably don't anymore, but I used to. I grew up in Western Sydney. I didn't have a proper accent at all, so I'm very surprised if I do now. It's a show you'd rather forget because it was your mum's name and you never met another Miriam, let alone it be the name of a show. Yeah, especially that show. That show was nuts. Float, moonwalk, jump. Compared to the US, I do. Yeah, I just have an Australian accent. I mean, I don't have a nice accent compared to a lot of Australians. Like mine is, when I was little, I used to have like, because most of my friends when I was growing up were Lebanese, so I had like a very Lebanese accent. But then when I moved away from Sydney, it went away a little bit. Moonwalk might be the dance. That's true, it might be. So maybe are we looking, do you think we're looking at maybe Michael Jackson related something? Okay. Yeah, it could be Michael Jackson related if you think that the moonwalk is a dance, but then I can't see anything else related to dance or Michael Jackson there. Oh, wait. The robot's a dance. The moonwalk's a dance. Are there any other names of dances there? Shake? Jerk, maybe? All right. Do you reckon I should try that for dancing? Yeah, we got robot, we got jerk, we got shake, and we got moonwalk. All right, let's try that for dancing. Fingers crossed. Let's go. Nah. Wrong. We were wrong. Oh well. Deselect. Where in Western Sydney are you from? Salem Friday. Floss is a dance. Oh, it is, isn't it? Floss. Robot. Moonwalk. Okay, what else is a dance? You guys have to help me. It's the Fortnite dance? Yeah. Yeah, I vaguely know about that. I don't know. What else is so? Robot is definitely dance. Floss is a dance. Moonwalk is a dance. What else out of these is a dance? You're in the Blue Mountains? Oh my goodness. I don't want to dox myself, but my brothers live in the Blue Mountains. They live about like 20 minutes before Katoomba, but I don't want to dox myself. But I have lived in the Penrith Blue Mountains area before, and I've also lived in like the Maryland Guildford area of Western Sydney as well. So like 10 years of my childhood in one, and like 7 years of my childhood in like Penrith Blue Mountains. Don't want to say exactly where, but I went to high school in that region, and I went to primary in school in like the Maryland Guildford area. The worm was a dance too. You are correct. The worm was a dance. Where did it go? Where are you, worm? Why can't I find the word? Earthworm. Is the dance called the earthworm though, or the worm? Okay, maybe it's called the earthworm. Let's try. One away. We're one away. We just have to find the next dance. There was a dance, I think, called the hippie shake. Let's try that. We are out of... Nah. I can't get it. We're going to have to find... Yeah, that's why I don't want to dox myself. The Harlem Shake. Yeah, I've got floss, moonwalk, shake, and robot. I tried it and it said we got one wrong. So I don't know. I don't know which one. Well, let's try and find another category. You're 34. I'm not gonna say how old I am, but I don't think we would know the same people. Hey, Joey. I'm demonstrating my bimbo power by absolutely getting slayed by word games. Yeah, I haven't been to Penrith, I think, since before Corona. I think the last time I was there was 2019. My best friend lived in Penrith, and then she moved to the Gold Coast in like, I don't know, like 2021 or something like that. So I haven't really had a reason to go out there. And when I go to Sydney, I always get like my brothers and stuff to travel into the city to see me. And then I'll usually go to like Parramatta or somewhere like that. So it's central for like all of my friends to, you know, meet up and this kind of stuff to do. But yeah. But yeah, I'm super lazy. I don't really leave Melbourne much anymore. I'm just like, oh God. Yeah, I can't work any of these out. What's cracking in the Blue Mountains these days anyway? Just lots of cooked cunts walking around Katoomba, I assume. Same as usual. Are there still lots of eshays in Springwood? I don't know. I don't know what else is happening there. Earthworm, mud, mushroom, and puddle. Wet earth. That is there. That's earthworm, mud, mushroom, puddle. I tried a similar combination before for like storms, but it spat it out, so. Seen in the aftermath of a rainstorm. You got it. See, I was trying for that, but I got one of them wrong. All right, we really don't have much left. Float, jump, moonwalk. Maybe this is like stuff you do in space. Float, jump, moonwalk, and then something else maybe? The only time you've left Queensland was for a 10-day cruise. Where did you go on the cruise? Like, did you go to like some Pacific islands or something? Sundae shake, float, and split are ice cream types. You are a genius. You are an absolute genius, Ricochet. We love to see it. We don't call them floats. We call them spiders, right? An ice cream float is a spider. Isn't that like ice cream and soft drink together? I think so. Americans always call stuff weird. You've only been back for a year. You hardly go to Katoomba, and Springwood has changed so much now. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sundae shake. Float. Ice cream treats. You did it. All right. We've only got one mistake left, so if we don't get the next one right, we're kind of rooted. It's not going good. Ricochet is American. See, he has the advantage. This is the New York Times, not the Penrith Star or something, guys. Okay, I'm just a little Western Sydney girl with a small brain trying to do my best in the world. Oh, jerk, startled, and bolt and jump are things that you do when you're scared. Should I go for that? What do we have left at this stage? But then what do robot floss, cabbage patch, and moonwalk have to do with each other? It is called the Penrith Star, right? The Penrith. It's a Blue Mountains Gazette, the Penrith Star. I don't know. I don't remember. All right, I'm gonna try. It's gonna be wrong. Flinch! I was right. It is stuff you do when you're scared. So that means... I wonder what category these are. Dance moves. Cabbage patch. The cabbage patch is a dance move. So we were on the right track. It did want dance moves. All right. You just thought the quote was funny. Yeah, I'm just pandering for my Western Sydney audience. Are you a Panthers supporter? Yeah, apparently floss is the Fortnite dance. I don't know. Is that the dance that those Twitch streamers were doing in the content cough on H3H3? I don't know. I never played Fortnite, so. Panthers is Nathan Cleary. Yeah. You don't watch the footy. Fair enough. I only really watch State of Origin now because, like, I live in Victoria, so Western Sydney have an AFL team. I know. I watch AFL now. But yeah, so I've been like getting into that, supporting the Western Sydney Giants. That's what I've been up to in my life. I'm pandering because I'm a panda. That's what pandas do. We pander to our audience. Now, I love talking to people from Western Sydney because it's like basically my entire personality trait is that I'm from Western Sydney. It's like my whole personality basically. So, you know. That's even worse than the NRL. Yeah. Well, the worst thing was when I moved down here, because if you're from like the Penrith Blue Mountains area, then you would know that like growing up, everyone called it GayFL, right? And do you know the amount of times that I accidentally called it GayFL in front of Victorians, and they get so offended, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. That's just what we called it when we were kids. Like, I'm really sorry. Now, the Blue Mountains are beautiful. I just, yeah. I just, how should I put this delicately? I mean, I still have a lot of friends that live up there, but, if I can avoid a lot of the people up there, like, if I go to Katoomba or Springwood, the likelihood that I see somebody that, or Penrith, the likelihood that I see somebody that I don't want to see, you know what I mean? And just get like stuck in a conversation. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. No. It's just, yeah, it's not, I've got some geology videos to watch. I also have some news. I also have a video about Betelgeuse, the star supernovaing. Exciting. That's exciting to me. What's happening in North Korea? How every country got nuclear weapons. We have such an eclectic stream here. This is what happens when you have ADHD. I'm just like, I want to watch this, and I want to watch this, and I want to watch that. It's you know, it's a journey. I like to take you all on a journey. Has it snowed in the Blue Mountains this year? I could just like actually call my family and ask them, but I won't, because
split open.
Oh, so this is a geography video from a channel called Oz Geology. Did I say geography instead of geology? I think I did. It hasn't been cold this winter. It's been freezing in Melbourne, dude. It's been so cold in Melbourne. So this was about a plan to flood the north of Australia and why it failed. I mean, it kind of floods itself once a year, doesn't it?
Dumping torrential rain over the Kimberley. Dry creek beds transformed overnight into thundering brown torrents. And great rivers like the Fitzroy and Ord swelled and roared across the red earth. In the long dry months that followed, those same rivers shrank back to gentle streams, trickling between wide sandbars and billabongs teeming with bird life. For millennia, this cycle of flood and drought ruled the remote Kimberley region of Western Australia. The indigenous peoples of this land understood these rhythms. They gave the Fitzroy a sacred name, Martuwarra. To them, these rivers were living ancestors, not just water to be.
I don't have enough. I need to get a new PC. I don't have enough RAM to go full ADHD. Like, my computer will just brick itself. So I have to manage my ADHD tendencies somewhat. Like, if I just want to go full, you know, maybe just have like nine windows open.
Be used. But others far away in Australia's crowded southern cities, the sight of so much water flowing unused into the Timor Sea seemed like an opportunity. It was the mid-20th century, an era of grand nation-building dreams, and an audacious idea was taking root. Tame these wild northern rivers and turn the Kimberley into a fertile food bowl. This is the story of the wild plan to flood northern Australia. In dusty government offices and optimistic boardrooms, men pored over maps of the empty north. They saw the vast plains around the Ord River and imagined them checkered with fields of cotton, rice and sugarcane. Since the 1940s,
growing water intensive crops in Australia is so dumb. I don't know why we grow cotton here, and I don't know why we grow rice here. We do not have the water to do that. It's so dumb. I've had to listen to my dad go on like 5 million rants about this. Seriously, like it's insane. He gets so angry about it. But yeah, like our water management in this country is so subpar. And don't even get me started on the Murray-Darling River. Oh my goodness. I was either a Eshe or an emo. No, I was neither of those. I was a goth kid, and no, not emo in the slightest. You didn't. I was gonna ask you if you used to hang out at the Mondo, but that might be aging myself, so I'm not gonna do that.
agricultural scientists had been toiling at a remote research station on the Ord, sweating under the brutal sun as they tested crops in the rusty red soil. Wartime fears and post-war ambition fed their mission. Australia's population was growing, and what better way to secure the nation's future than...
The Nats have a scandal today, 80 million water scheme fraud. Oh, well, this video is topical then. I'll look that up after this. I was sleeping all day because I know I'm going to struggle tomorrow at work, and I'm just feeling like shit. So I don't know. The world could have ended today. I honestly wouldn't know unless I went to get the mail and there were just like corpses everywhere. That would be like the only indication, you know.
And to unlock a new Eden in the tropics. Politicians and planners spoke in rousing tones of making the desert bloom. The Ord River, they declared, would no longer idly spill into the ocean each wet season. Instead, its waters would be captured and spread across the land.
You did hang out at the Mondo. Yeah. I always see like there's a lot of like YouTubers now that are like comedians, and they're doing shows at the Jones Sutherland Centre, and they just call it Western Sydney. And I'm like, well, it's so weird because I know people from the Blue Mountains don't want to be called Western Sydney, but when I say I'm from Western Sydney, I mean like where I lived until I was like 11, 12. And then when my family moved further out west, I thought that was the country. I remember the first time I went to Penrith, I asked my dad, I was like, why is everyone white? And he just started laughing. He was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I was a confused child. It's like, what's happening out here? Apparently Australia export more virtual water in meat and crops and stuff. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense because we're obviously like a very big agricultural agrarian country. Did you know what happened to that guy in the news? It was insane. You'll have to be more specific, Great Gooner. Just out here gooning on the internet. Penrith is technically the last stop in Western Sydney. Yeah. The Blue Mountains is 99% white. Oh, yeah. 100%. Welcome to the gooning empire. The whole internet is the gooning empire. I'm pretty sure most of the internet is to facilitate gooning at this stage in the game.
And conjuring verdant farms from the Kimberley wilderness. A great dam must be built, they decided, an inland sea to feed an agricultural utopia. By the early 1960s, that grand vision leapt off the pages of reports and onto the ground at a place called Kununurra. Once a quiet stretch of bush by the Ord, Kununurra was surveyed and established as a brand new town in 1961, a living foothold for the coming irrigation scheme. Soon the scramble was on. Engineers in khaki shorts arrived with bulldozers and drills. Traditional owners looked on warily as roads and fences cut across country. In 1963, the first step of the plan was complete, the Ord River Diversion Dam. A concrete wall locking across the Ord's flow was officially opened with great fanfare. On a blistering July day, Australia's Prime Minister flew in for the ceremony, joining local leaders on a temporary stage by the dam. As the crowd fanned themselves under a tropical sun, the Prime Minister boomed that this new dam marked the dawn of a bright era. From this moment, he declared with palpable excitement, nobody will be able to look at this and say, what a pity it was never opened. Everything is now in order. Laughter rippled through the audience, soon drowned by applause as he cut the ribbon and the Ord Diversion Dam was pronounced open. The Ord River's water began backing up behind a barrier, forming a long blue reservoir they named Lake Kununurra. Faces beamed with pride and hope. Reporters called Kununurra the most exciting place in Australia at this moment, echoing the Prime Minister's own words. To the south, urban Australians saw newspaper photos of outback officials shaking hands and predicted that this remote country was on the verge of blooming into a new agricultural heartland. Real drama, however, was still yet to come. Further upstream at a narrow gorge in the Carboyd Ranges, work was beginning on the Ord's ultimate conquest, the main Ord River Dam. This would be a big one, a towering rock-filled dam that would create one of the largest man-made lakes.
You didn't think you would be learning about water on a Sunday night? Yeah, look, I have a lot of like niche interests, I guess. Like some days I'll just like be watching astronomy videos, geology videos. Sometimes I'm watching stuff about geopolitics. Sometimes I'm just, you know, watching Billy Corgan's mouth move. You know, it depends, you know, where I am in what headspace I'm in at that particular time. It's all
Australia had ever seen. Construction began in 1969, and the scale of it captured the nation's imagination. Dynamite blasts echoed through the ranges as tons of rock and earth were piled into a wall throttling the river. Hundreds of workers toiled in remote camps, often wakened before.
Oh my god, imagine working on that dam in that heat with like no cover. I would actually die. Well, I would die because I have lupus and I can't go in the sun. I would just die. I would be dead.
Dawned by the whoop of curlews and a rumble of trucks. Aboriginal families who had lived and hunted along the Ord's bank for generations watched with concern as their beloved river was slowly sealed in a barrier of steel and stone. Kangaroos bounded away confused as their watering hole shrank, yet the project pressed on, unstoppable, fueled by the era's unshakable faith in engineering. Late in 1971, the last gap in the dam wall was plugged. The Ord River's flow slowed, then ceased, and began rising inexorably behind the dam. Trees and scrub on the valley floor were submerged. The Great Lake Argyle was being born. When the main Ord River Dam was officially opened in 1972,
Salem Friday. Do you know about the town that used to be where Warragamba Dam is, that they flooded to make Warragamba Dam? I don't know. I just remember once when there was a dam, where there was a drought. God, I can't speak English. I just remember once when there was a drought, you could start to see like the old town that they submerged under there. It's like someplace out like near Wallachia. I don't know. I don't remember exactly now.
a vast inland lake spread out through the Kimberley Hills, where there had once been a ribbon of river. Lake Argyle was staggering in size, eventually over 700 square kilometres.
I didn't get diagnosed with lupus until later. So I might have had it when I was a kid, but I don't think I did. So yeah. But yeah, Western Sydney summers are definitely not great, especially like because my family was way too poor to have air conditioning. I didn't have air conditioning. I never like lived in an air conditioned house until like I rented my own home.
Holding back the wet season fury in a placid blue expanse. It was so immense that locals joked it looked like an inland sea. It could drown the entire Sydney harbour more than a dozen times over. At the dam's opening ceremony, attended by another Prime Minister and throngs of dignitaries, there was triumphant talk of progress and prosperity. A small flotilla of boats bobbed on the new lake surface, ferrying officials who marvelled at the mirror
That's
smooth
pretty
water
cool.
where once red dirt had baked in the sun. One old cattleman from the Argyle Downs station wiped a tear as he looked across the water. His homestead lay beneath that lake now, carefully relocated and rebuilt on higher ground, as a museum piece of pioneer history. For the politicians though, Lake Argyle was a shining symbol, the linchpin of the Grand Ord irrigation scheme. Western Australia's leaders proclaimed that an agricultural revolution was underway, with unlimited water on tap from Lake Argyle. The surrounding plains were to become a patchwork of green farms, a northern agricultural utopia that would feed not just Australia, but perhaps Asia as well. Hopes ran high, investors were courted, and plans were drawn up for new mills and packing plants. The dream seemed within grasp. In those heady early years, the town of Kununurra boomed with optimism.
No, not in the snowy mountains like Warragamba Dam, like the one that you know when you go to there's a lookout in Wenty, like the if you go down King's Tableland Road, you know, the lake that you can see what's it called? Lake Burragarang, like Warragamba Dam. I don't know, it was some town. The Jindabyne one's a different town. That was like the Snowy Mountains dam, I think. I can't remember what it was called. I'd have to look it up. I don't know. Sorry, I'm a scatterbrain.
New settlers, young families, adventurous farmers and engineers flocked north to claim a slice of the future. Under the harsh sun they planted cotton, rice and sorghum. On newly irrigated paddocks carved from scrub, green shoots emerged, and the air hummed with the promise of abundance. Government ministers and business magnates flew in for tours, posing for photographs in fields of trial crops. This is just the beginning, they promised. The first stage of 12,000 hectares of farms was already producing, and the next stage, 70,000 hectares or more, lay just ahead. The Ord scheme was hailed in newspapers as a bold stroke of nation building akin to the Great Snowy Mountains Hydro Scheme. School children were taught that science and human ingenuity had triumphed over the hostile outback. At night, from newly built farmhouses, one could sometimes hear the faint roar of water rushing through irrigation channels, a sound that lulled many to sleep, dreaming of wealth and plenty. But the Kimberley had challenges of its own, and it did not surrender easily to these dreams. Before long, reality began to bite. The same nature that had dazzled dam builders with monsoonal water turned out to be a fickle partner for farmers. Heavy rains and long droughts proved unsuitable for many crops. Rice paddies were flooded out one season and bone dry the next. The much hyped cotton fields grew green and bushy.
Yeah, Salem Friday. There was a town in that valley. I think it's called like Wallandilly Valley or something. Let me look it up. Dude, that abandoned hospital is so freaky. Did your friends ever like try to go to like the abandoned psychiatric hospital in Wentworth Falls? No, don't go anywhere near there, man. That shit is haunted. Scary. All right. Warragamba. Damn. Flooded. Town. Valley. Ask Roz Blue Mountains. Nine News. Haunting remains of flooded town emerged due to drought. Ongoing drought and dropping dam levels around the lower Blue Mountains has resulted in the re-emergence of some haunting artifacts. Remnants of old towns and villages, including wells, buildings, roads, bridges, and railway lines, have poked above water in catchments and lakes around the lower Blue Mountains. Being submerged underwater has resulted in the partial preservation of many artifacts, which can only be seen during times of significant drought. An old US Army tank sits in Lake Burragarang, which is what you can see from the lookout in Wentworth Falls. So the valley is just, yeah, like right there. A Among the stranger heritage items are torpedo net poles up against the dam wall at Cataract Dam, once used to catch potential bombs before they exploded and protect the dam during World War II. There is also an old US Army tank that sits in Lake Barragarang. Yeah, so this is like what the town... Yeah, Wallandilly River, Barragarang. So this is the town that used to be like in that valley. If you drive down that dirt road, this town, that's the town. Yeah, there's just a tank chilling. Yeah, but yeah, most dams are made like that, right? They flood something. And yeah, there was a town. There was a whole ass town down there, which I think like you used to access it by like driving like out towards Malaysia. Sorry, this is probably boring for people that don't know where any of these places are, but you know, ADHD is a hell of a drug, guys. It's what we do.
But when they flowered, clouds of voracious insects descended. Caterpillars and bollworms chewed through the cotton balls relentlessly. Farmers fought back with chemical sprays. The whine of crop dusting planes became a common sunrise sound over Kununurra, and a chemical tang often hung in the still evening air. For a few years in the late 1960s, they battled the bugs and tried to coax a decent cotton harvest from the Ord's rich water. Yet, each season, the pests grew bolder and more resistant, and yields stayed disappointingly low. By the early 1970s, with world cotton prices slumping and fields blighted by insects, the cotton venture collapsed. The very crop that had justified the dam was abandoned. One by one, frustrated farmers walked off the land, dreams in ruins. Other crops were attempted. Sorghum fell to mildew, rice was outcompeted by ravenous birds and seasonal floods, and later even sugarcane had its brief day. A mill was...
Yeah, it is Wallachia, like Wallachia in Romania. Yeah, it's a really, really pretty place. I think the houses there, like the land and houses there are like worth like, I think 5-6 mil, because it's like on the Nepean River, and it's like, it's just really pretty. And it's like, yeah, the prices just exploded out there apparently. But I think because like it's really huge like land parcels as well, I think like the acreages
was built in the 1990s amid fresh hype, only to shut down when it proved unprofitable. The northern Eden that had been promised began to seem like a mirage. Alongside these economic woes came environmental and cultural wake-up calls. With the Ord River now harnessed, the ecology of the region changed in subtle and overt ways. Downstream of the dams, the natural flood cycles were altered. Wetlands that had depended on seasonal flows began to shrink, and invasive weeds found new opportunity in the stable year-round waters of the irrigation channels. Salt began creeping into the soil in some overwatered fields, a white crust that whispered of the salinity nightmares that had plagued other irrigation schemes. Scientists who had once rushed to dam the river started preaching caution. The land and water must be understood and respected, or the Kimberley would exact a price. Indeed, while Lake Argyle teemed with new life, huge flocks of waterbirds congregated on its shores, and freshwater crocodiles basked in its coves, the land around the farms suffered from disrupted patterns. As the 1980s and 1990s rolled on, the grand northern vision inevitably shrank to fit reality. The second stage of the Ord irrigation scheme, once imagined to cover an area the size of a small European country, was repeatedly delayed and scaled back. Instead of 70,000 hectares of new farms, only a few thousand hectares were ever added, bit by bit. Government enthusiasm cooled when cost-benefit analysis showed meagre returns and mounting maintenance expenses. On the ground, the bustling construction camps gave way to a quieter rural community. Kununurra settled into a steadier rhythm, supported by a modest agricultural industry. Some melons, mangoes and sandalwood plantations did find success, and by tourism drawn to the spectacle of Lake Argyle and the region's natural beauty. The dream of a northern food bowl was not entirely dead. It would resurface every so often in political speeches, but it's
so beautiful, but think about the crocs and think about the UV. But think about the uranium we could find out there, guys. Don't forget about my plan for us to enrich our own uranium, okay? We can do it. We can do it if we try, guys. We can.
Certainly dimmed. There were no longer serious plans to dam every river or blanket the Kimberley in farmland. The wilderness, it turned out, had resisted in its own ways, through unforgiving climate, pests, isolation, and the sheer resilience of its ancient culture and ecology. Nowhere was this retreat more evident than with the rivers that remained undammed. Chief among these was the mighty Fitzroy River to the west. During the giddy early Ord years, some had looked to the Fitzroy and other Kimberley rivers and mused, perhaps we'll build the next dam there. Indeed, in the 1990s, a bold proposal emerged to dam the Fitzroy at Diamond Gorge and pump its waters to irrigate giant cotton fields. But by this time the tide had turned. Environmental groups and Aboriginal traditional owners united in opposition. In mass meetings under the boab trees of Fitzroy Crossing, elders spoke passionately of the river's sacred role and the lessons learned from the Ord experience. Community organisers coined the rallying cry, "Let the Fitzroy flow free." Their voices carried weight. After years of protest and debate, the dam plans were shelved. The Fitzroy's wild flood pulses continued to thunder through its gorges each wet season, and come dry season, its broad riverbed again became a mosaic of calm pools reflecting the brilliant Kimberley sky. In time, the Fitzroy gained formal protection for its extraordinary natural and cultural values. Even the government acknowledged it should never be dammed. Similarly, talk of channeling Kimberley waters south to thirsty cities was met with public outrage and quickly abandoned. The grand conquest of the northern rivers had, in effect, run up against a new understanding that not all rivers are mere resources. Some are better left to run their ancient course. Today, an early morning mist rises from the waters of Lake Argyll, and the dam wall stands as a colossal monument to 20th century ambition. It still provides water for the pared-down farms of Kununurra, generates hydropower, and supports a small town that wouldn't exist without it.
Well, I guess it does something. I mean, do you reckon there's crocs in there? That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know. Whenever I think about anything up north, I'm just like crocodiles. Doesn't sound good. Humidity, crocodiles. Nope. Not about that life, guys. Nope.
In that sense, the visionaries did carve out a piece of their dream, but at a fraction of the imagined scale, and at a great cost. In the Kimberley today, the wild beauty that once was seen as empty and in need of transformation is now increasingly treasured. The early dam builders' saga is remembered with a complex mix of admiration and regret. Admiration for their daring and ingenuity, and regret for the naivety that underlaid the scheme. Their dream to command nature now stands tempered by a respectful wish to work with it. Visitors who journey to these far northern rivers find themselves humbled by the scale of the land and the knowledge that, in the end, the Kimberley remains more wild than tamed. The story of damming the rivers has become a cautionary tale that grand visions must reckon with ground truths. And so, as twilight falls over both Lake Argyll and the free-flowing Fitzroy, one cannot help but feel a deep awe. Awe for the grandiosity of the human ambition that tried to reshape this land, and for the enduring power of the land's own spirit, which, in subtle and profound ways, ultimately shaped the destiny of those great plans. I hope you found this as interesting as I did. And as always,
I did.
Thanks for watching.
You're welcome, Oz Geology.
Before
Anything north of Queensland, you think of crocs, humidity, VB, and bogans. Well, the V in VB stands for Victoria. I don't know. Don't they drink 4X up there? I don't know. That's what, like, the Brizzy Broncos are sponsored by 4X. Queensland Maroons are sponsored by 4X. I don't know. That seems to be their beer, right? And Tooheys is the New South Welsh Bureau of sponsorship. Although the Blues have been sponsored by VB. See, I confuse everybody because I'm a goth chick that watches sport. They're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am okay." Okay. Yeah. 4X and Great Northern is Queensland. Yep, that checks out. Great Northern is a big one now. Yeah, I haven't tried it. Is it good? It's kind of like Carlton Dry. Okay. Yeah, that's decent. I usually drink Japanese beers or Korean beers because if I like do, on the odd chance that I do go out, it's usually to a Korean or a Japanese. Restaurant's a strong word, you know, like a franchise restaurant. I don't like to spend money, so I like to go to like franchises. I like to go to like Korean fried chicken, Gammy's fried chicken and beer. It's very good because I love Korean food, but it's, you know, yeah, Cass is a really good beer. I really like it. And I like to get on the sojus as well. Those are good, but I can't drink that much because of the medication that I'm on, but yeah. It's like meeting people from Queensland and meeting people from Western Sydney, and nobody cares about nobody cares about state of origin. I'm just like the odd little bogan out. It's like very, very disenchanting. You feel like everyone in Sydney drinks Cooper's or Carlton Draft? Yeah. Tui's Extra Dry had a moment in the sun, I remember, but yeah, I don't really go out that much. I don't have the energy, so I don't really know what bevies people are consuming out there. Wow. Just grabbing my drink, sorry guys. Game 3, you'll get into it, yeah. I do. I like to have some state pride. I never knew how much the other states in Australia hated New South Wales until I moved. I was like, oh, we like you guys. I'm sorry. But, yeah. Oh, well. It's all right.
Images like these grimly familiar. Food distribution by G.Jester.
Yeah, I just started playing a video about, sorry, this video is going to be a bit heavy. Israeli soldiers ordered to fire at civilians in Gaza, which, you know, is charming. You can't drink beer, it gives you a headache. Oh, that sucks. I sometimes get headaches when I drink beer, but I find like if I'm hydrated and stuff before I start drinking, it's usually okay. You feel like everyone hates Sydney ciders? Well, I don't know. Like, the thing is, people from Sydney are really, really friendly. I mean, look, it depends where you go. Like, there's obviously, like, you know, the really rich dickheads. If you go to, like, a really rich suburb, if you're, like, on the North Shore or you're, like, in the eastern suburbs, then, yeah, like, but that's, like, not most of us, right? Like, people in the west and the southwest are pretty nice. And that's, like, the bulk of us. So, I don't know. We're not rich in harbour views, but we're rich in friendship and alcoholism. And at the end of the day, isn't that what counts, guys? I think it is.
HF, the Israeli US-sponsored Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Figures released today by the Hamas-controlled Gaza government say 549 people have been killed in the first month of the foundation's work, 4,066 injured. In that first month, Israel's Haaretz newspaper documented
Queenslanders dislike Victorians. You don't know how happy that makes me, Joey. You don't know how happy that makes me to hear. That makes me ecstatic. Because I was talking to this dickhead Victorian guy who, like, he worked at, like, a flooring place. And I was with my friend who was renovating. She just had, like, bought her first little flat, but it was like, you know, she needed to redo all the flooring and all of that. So we went in to talk to this guy, and can't remember how we started talking about the footy, but we ended up talking about the footy and yada yada yada. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I watched State of Origin. he was like, oh yeah, go for Queensland. I'm like, oh, are you from Queensland? He's like, no, I'm moving there. And he was like telling me where he was moving, like near Noosa. And he's like, a house, like he invested in housing like 20 years ago and he has all this money and yada, yada, yada. And he was like, oh, I know I'm a Mexican, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, like your New South Wales people call Victorians Mexicans because you're south of our border. Like you don't even get how this works. And then he was just going on about how much he hates New South Wales and yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, all right, well, I don't know. Like, I don't even remember all the things that he said, but he was just like super obnoxious. And it's like, you're not from Queensland, you weirdo. Like, you can't just like laugh like you're a Queenslander. Like I was born and raised in like Western Sydney. Me, like, you know, being enculturated in Western Sydney stuff is like not performative, it's real. That's why you hate footy. People get way into it and make it like their personality. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Look, like, I just enjoy it, and it is like a hobby, I guess. And it's also like a good way for me to meet people from Western Sydney that live in Melbourne, because they'll usually also be like Giants supporters. And, you know, I know it's not typical for like, you know, goth girls or something to be into sport, but like I grew up like very close to my dad, and we used to watch sports together. We used to go fishing together and do all those types of things, and it's just something that I really enjoy. I really enjoy contact sports. I really enjoy like UFC. I just like, you know, I like a bit of bloke on bloke action, and I think that's okay. I think it's all right for me to admitting to like that. Like, I think, you know, we can like many different things, and it's okay, you know. But yeah, making something your entire personality is like not great. But yeah, I just enjoy a bit of NRL and a bit of AFL, and you know, some bloke on bloke action. It's I find it very fascinating. Yeah. No, I definitely love guys in short shorts tackling each other. That's 100% what it's about. Like, I'll cop to that. That's fine.
It's 19 instances of the Israeli army opening fire near these food handouts. And today, it reports Israeli soldiers saying they were ordered to open fire on crowds of civilians seeking food, even though they posed no threat. The Israeli army says it's now investigating potential war crimes. In the past few hours, the UN Secretary General passed this verdict on Israel and America's aid operation in Gaza.
Any operation that channels desperate civilians into militarized zones is inherently unsafe. It's killing people. It's time for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
Yeah, but that's why they're doing it. They're hurting the people in there because it's the only place they can go to get food. They're starving. And then they're mowing people down. They're using their aid as a pretext to get people in there. I feel like this stream's all over the shop. We've just gone from talking about guys in footy shorts to Gaza. But, I mean, this is the world we live in, unfortunately, guys. I think we might have watched this yesterday. At least I remember that UN guy saying something along those lines. But they didn't even make it 1 month before mask off death camps. Yeah, 100%. But we're supposed to still give Israel all this good grace because of what happened in World War II, when they're literally like, they were literally herding people into cattle pens to, you know, under the pretext of like, oh, you know, to form an orderly line to receive aid. And then they were just literally shooting people. Yeah, I am a very ADHD girl, Joey. It's just it's just how we are around these parts. You learnt a new word tonight, broy. Yeah. I mean, at least a lot of countries have actually started to have the balls to at least like impose some type of sanctions. And obviously that's like not enough, but at least it's something. At least it's sending a strong message, you know, diplomatically. I mean, really, we should be expelling, you know, Israeli diplomatic staff. They're committing war crimes. Like, they're committing war crimes, an ethnic cleansing at best, and a genocide at worst. Like, it's not that complicated. I mean, it is complicated, unfortunately, because of all the geopolitical entanglements with Israel and APAC money and having America by the balls, and, you know, and then by extension having Australia by the balls, because Israel's got America by the balls and America has us by the balls. So, you know, we're just all pulling each other's balls, and it's you know, some people are at risk of developing testicular cancer, so we've got to be careful out there, guys. Maybe we should start distributing boxes to world leaders to protect their tackle. It's rough out there. It's rough out there in geopolitics for world leaders and their testicles. It is just one big ball off.
And in Israel itself last night, police confronting protesters in central Tel Aviv who are demanding peace in Gaza and the return of the hostages. Under pressure from all this and the US to cut a peace deal with Hamas and end 628 bloody days of war in the Strip, Prime Minister Netanyahu suddenly dropping hints about a possible end to it all.
Along with the release of our hostages and the defeat of Hamas, there is a window of opportunity here that must not be wasted. We must not waste even a single day.
Shut up,
That merest hint
dickhead.
of a move for peace, stoking far-right fury. Israel's finance minister posting, "You've got no mandate, Prime Minister." So we drove out from Tel Aviv to get the perspective of the Mossad, Israel's secret spy operation, central to the damage inflicted on Iran's Hezbollah militia in Lebanon, on Iran itself, and on Hamas in Gaza. But Chaim Torma, former Mossad intelligence boss, says they had to choose between national security and globally accepted standards of morality.
I think that the war in Gaza brought us to a very serious moral dilemmas. What is first? The security of our people or the moral international laws that we were abiding for many, many years? Yes, there is a dilemma. I'm not going to escape it. There is a dilemma.
Note that past tense, moral international laws that we were abiding by for many years. So, if he were still advising the Prime Minister now, what would he say?
If I am again an intelligence officer in a position that I have to make a recommendation to my Prime Minister, I would say, stop it. Stop it by now. We achieved enough.
Would you? You'd say stop it.
Stop it by now.
In Gaza?
Absolutely. On the spot.
That's good advice. That is good advice. And look, like I said, like I've been saying the last week or so, if they had all the schematics for the underground bunkers in Iran, and they, you know, have been able to get computer viruses on USB sticks into the secure nuclear facilities in Iran to like infect all their computers with Stuxnet and all that stuff. Like, if they can do that in Iran, they can 100% do that in Gaza. And we even know, like, with the technology that archaeologists use, like the underground penetrating radar and stuff, they could 100%, Mossad definitely can 100% has the technology and the capability to locate those hostages and extract them with minimal casualties. They don't want to. That's the crux of it. They want to have a pretext to flatten Gaza and kill as many people as they can so they can annex Gaza and have it a part of Israel proper, because that's always been the goal. And then it'll be the West Bank, mark my words, and that'll either be Egypt or Jordan after that. And, you know, the Greater Israel Plan is coming together. Well, hopefully it's not. Hopefully the world, the technical advantage is so extreme. It is so extreme. Like, even just watching documentaries, and if you don't think, like, even just watching documentaries on, like, what archaeologists and stuff use, I know that they've got this type of technology, but imagine what Mossad and the United States government have that we don't know about, right? Because they always say that DARPA with, like, the US government, they always say that, like, the technology that's getting released today is like DARPA's 30-year-old technology. So, like, the tech that's coming out now, DARPA's had for at least 30 years. So there's no way that they can't. They would probably be able to tell which hostage is which hostage from, like, the heat signatures and the heart rates and things like that. Like, I guarantee you they've got this technology. They just don't want to use it. And I won't be freaking told otherwise. Hey, like, it's...
But Old Jerusalem's Jewish quarter sends a different message. Make Gaza Jewish again. Mission unaccomplished in Gaza. The president of a conservative think tank here says continue, annihilate Hamas, and that is just the start.
But it requires Israel to take military, governmental, and civic control to ensure that the Gazan people are reassured that there is a new constable in town. There is a new...
Annex Gaza is the only way out of this.
No, not annex Gaza. Control Gaza. I hesitate to use the word occupation because that word has been misused in the international discourse.
You're going to be there, you're going to run it.
I mean to take over Gaza.
But it is the White House and Gulf states' vision of peace which will likely count most when it comes to rebuilding Gaza.
And tonight, the Israeli Prime Minister has responded to these allegations that his troops are under orders to fire on unarmed civilians in Gaza, describing them as, and a quote, vile blood libel. He continued,
But we've seen the footage, and we've seen the fallout, and we've seen the casualties. So how does that work?
These are malicious lies aimed at slandering the Israeli army, the most moral army in the world. And from...
Well, sweet mother of Edward Bernays, that is propaganda on a... Oof. What? I'm actually lost for words. What an insane thing to say.
In Gaza itself tonight, some updated statistics. The
most moral. They are the most moral guys.
2 more civilians were killed just today by Israeli armed forces, of whom they say 10 were lining up to get desperately needed food aid. Back to you.
Alex Thompson in Tel Aviv. Well, a short time ago, I spoke to the Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesman, Dr. Majid Al-Ansari, who's also an advisor to the Prime Minister. And I began by asking what Qatar's role and hopes are now in trying to get a sort of Gaza ceasefire process going again.
Well, you know, Christian, we have been working on this for the past 2 years, almost 2 years, to get a deal between both sides. And we have said countless times that the parameters are there, the agreement.
It 100% is on the same level as Nazi propaganda. It 100% is. And that's the ironic thing, right? They use what happened in World War II as like a shield, as some type of armor to deflect any criticism of what they're doing when it's on par. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, absolutely. It's just... it's just so... It's just so extreme and so... Like, you can't... It's just so shocking in how, like, blatant it is. And we're just supposed to sit there and, like, accept them just lying to our faces. And, like, yeah, the world governments are scared to say anything, right? Because they've got, like, basically the unfettered support of the US. And it's like, well... It's just insanity. It's just absolute insanity.
Agreement is there. The language, we believe, is quite practical, and there is an agreement between both sides initially, but it has always been political posturing and escalation on the ground that has delayed reaching an agreement. We want to use the momentum now created by the ceasefire that we helped broker between Iran and Israel to build on that and find ourselves in a way where we can start talks between both sides in the Hamas-Israel talks.
And could you give us a sense of what the outline is? What would happen after the ceasefire? What would happen to the governance in Gaza?
Well, I think we are all in agreement that there needs to be a Palestinian model of governance in Gaza that is different than the one that was there before. We are also in agreement that it needs to be not a reoccupation of Gaza, but it's a restructuring of Gaza in a way that would make its people, first of all, have agency in reconstructing their own land and in reunifying the Palestinian lands into one Palestinian governance model, and for the international community to jump in the reconstruction and in supporting the Palestinian people.
What bargaining chips does Israel have? Well, there's a lot of AIPAC money that basically every single American politician apparently has an AIPAC handler. The right-wing journalist Tucker Carlson, he interviewed one of the only politicians in Congress that doesn't have an AIPAC handler, and he was saying, he has a really, really hard time because he won't take Israeli money, and it gets him into a lot of trouble with the other Republicans in the party because he doesn't want to go along with Israel's mandate. The other thing is Jeffrey Epstein is the person that we know about, right? But he was a Mossad agent, and his job was to get dirt files on high-profile Americans, including politicians. Obviously, Bill Clinton went to on the Lolita Express to the island. So the whole thing, right, was to get these rich and powerful men into compromising positions and get photos of them or video of them, and then to be able to use that as leverage for blackmail. So we know that's what Mossad have used as a tactic for a long time, is basically entrapment, getting people into these compromising positions with women that turn out to be underage, or or even just, them knowing that the women are underage, but still thinking, I'm amongst the other PDF files. So yeah. If you look it up, Ghislaine Maxwell's father was a Mossad agent, and it's apparently well known that Jeffrey Epstein and what's her name, Ghislaine Maxwell, were Mossad assets, and that's what their jobs were. But that happens all around, right? Have you seen the Stanley Kubrick movie Eyes Wide Shut? Those kinds of Illuminati-esque sex parties, where they all wear masks and they all do the most degenerate shit. Those are usually facilitated by Mossad adjacent assets and things like that. You have to be careful what you say on stream, but I will only say things that have been in the mainstream media, but those are things that have been published. The rest is just kind of speculation, but those are things that we know that Mossad does, is dirt files on rich and powerful people, and that's why they all go along with it. And then there's the AIPAC money as well, which basically every American politician has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from the Israeli government. It doesn't come without strings attached. Let me see if I can find that interview, and then we'll go. It is actually related, so it's not too much of a tangent. All right, Salem Friday. See you, mate. Have a good one. Tucker Carlson. AIPAC handler interview. So this is a sitting either senator or congressman. that Tucker Carlson is interviewing here.
Everybody but me has an APAC person.
What does that mean, an APAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your APAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for APAC.
Oh, it's got writing. Hang on. Hey, Ghoul Bandit, what's up? Hope you're having a good night. I'm just going to go back because it's got text, so I'm just going to read the text in case anyone's doing audio only, which some people do. So we'll just go back.
Everybody but me has an APAC person.
What does that mean, an APAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your APAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for APAC.
In an interview with Tucker Carlson, Congressman Tommy Massey says Republicans in Congress all are under the influence of APAC.
That's how it works on the Republican
a powerful Israeli lobbyist group.
side. And when they come to DC, you go have lunch with them. And they've got your cell number, and you have conversations with them. I've had 4 members of Congress say, I'll talk to my APAC person. And it's literally what we call them, my APAC guy. I'll talk to my APAC guy and see if I can get him to, dial those ads back. Ostensibly, it's a group of Americans who lobby on behalf of Israel. They're for anything Israel, and they're a very effective lobbying group.
Representative Thomas Massey, who's
so yeah, that's a part of the picture. Israel's not giving and this is both sides of politics. It's a Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And there's Thomas Massey saying he's like the only sitting Republican member that doesn't have an APEC person. So he hasn't taken money from them. But basically before they do anything or before they vote for anything, they ring their APEC person and ask them what they're supposed to do, right? Because all of this has come with strings. We don't know what else, what else their APAC handler has done for them. It wouldn't surprise me if it involves blackmail as well as money. But yeah, I'm so glad we cannot elect dual citizens also. It's really, really, really smart of the fathers of federation to put that in the Australian Constitution. Split loyalty isn't something that you want from your sitting officials. And look, it's fine to be proud of your ethnicity and where your ancestors are from, that's fine, but we're all Australian, and that's what matters. Just being sick cunts out here down under, chilling, having some bevies, not going out in the sun if you're me. It's all good in the hood.
People, but in order to do that, first of all, we need calm. In Gaza, we need to stop the humanitarian suffering. The situation there has become unbearable in any respect, and what we are seeing today is the daily massacres of people who are there asking for food and trying to get aid is just something that the international community cannot accept.
But what's possible? Would Hamas people and leadership be able to remain?
We are the mediators on this. Our role is to bring about innovative ideas, to put them on the table, and to protect the dialogue that is taking place through providing these ideas in the right environment. And I don't think it's right for us to comment on that.
I mean, as you know, lots of people believe that Qatar was responsible effectively for supporting the Hamas administration in the past, for making payments, for enabling them. What is your reply to those people who say that your state enabled all of this?
That was a process in which we have helped reconstruct Gaza after devastating wars, and we have hoped maintain the peace through prosperity in Gaza and through providing hope for the people who live in Gaza in complete coordination with the international community and with Israel. This did not happen in secret. It did not happen in bags of cash. It happened in a clear process that had oversight from the international community, from the United Nations, from agencies of the United Nations, and from Israel. So we did not shy away from talking about this process. This process was completely on record.
Can I ask you then about Iran? What was your country's role in mediation, in brokering that ceasefire?
We were working on this for a really long time. We have came to deals in the past between Iran and the United States. Now, the day we were attacked here by Iran, where my country was attacked by 19 missiles and bravely defended by our men in uniform through 3 Patriot systems. At that time, exactly, our diplomats were on the phone, reaching an agreement with all sides and pressuring for a ceasefire to happen. Exactly at the moment where the attack stopped, we got a call from the President of the United States, who stated that there is a possibility of an agreement and that we should start working with all parties. And immediately, between Washington, Israel, and Iran, we started talking to all sides in order to get a deal in place. And this is what happened the next morning.
Have they apologized? And if not, do you want them
Yes.
to?
The president of Iran called on His Highness the Emir and apologized to the Qatari people. He reassured Qatar that it was not a target, but we made it very clear, His Highness made it very clear to him in the call that this is not accepted. We condemned the attack very strongly, and we reserve the right to take action, especially diplomatically and legally.
How realistic is it that we could have a future one day in which Iran, Israel, and Saudi Arabia are all able to peacefully coexist?
We are always optimistic, we are always hopeful, and we are always championing peace in the region.
And do you think ultimately accountability may be the price of peace, or is accountability also possible?
There are a lot of prices to be paid for peace. There are a lot of concessions that need to be made for peace. We cannot forget the rights of those who've been wronged all these years. We cannot forget the human stories, the catastrophes, and the lives that have been lost as a result of wars. But we can forget, and we can work together in this region towards peace. And we have seen that in the past in so many cases. We have examples, positive examples in the region that we can build upon, and it's only a political decision at the end that will get us through the threshold and into the safe haven of peace, which we are all working towards.
Dr. Majid Al-Ansari, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
I'll be back in a few seconds, guys. Not a few seconds, a few minutes, I meant to say. I'll be back in a few seconds. Minutes. I keep on doing it. am back. Yay. Did you miss me? I'm sure you did. I was gone a really long time. Oh, a video about North Korea. A video about Beetlejuice or a video about North Korea? Beetlejuice the star, not Beetlejuice the demon in the Winona Ryder movie. I can't. One day I'll learn to speak English and it will be a marvelous day for humanity. North Korea, let's go for North Korea. Oh, look at the handbook. So pretty. I want to go to Korea. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to North Korea either, but it's a little bit sketchy.
So if you point a camera at the Earth 600 kilometers above the surface, it's pretty mesmerizing. But point it at the Korean Peninsula and you'll see this. South Korea is ablaze, but North Korea is almost totally dark. You've got this little point here for Pyongyang, the capital, but it's mostly a void. The Black Void tells a story of how the 25 million people live in this secretive kingdom of North Korea. But as the sun rises, we get to fill in the details, we get to see more. We get to see cities designed to control. We get to see an unfathomable amount of military installations, many of them burrowed into mountains, where they protect nuclear weapons, where the over 1 million soldiers endlessly prepare for war.
There's over 10,000 manned military installations. So air defense, bases, naval sites, all that squeezed into Pennsylvania.
We see factories, lots of factories. We see these little islands of dense housing, which are the homes of the workers who are assigned here. We see barriers, lots of barriers meant to keep people in. And not just on the borders with neighbors, but also within the country itself, checkpoints and barriers between provinces. I've been looking at every...
This video is 45 minutes though, so if we watch this and I add like fair use commentary, we're probably going to be getting towards going to bedtime because we all have work tomorrow because yay, the world is great.
Every inch of North Korea because I want to understand how it actually works. I want to understand how the all-powerful leaders have designed this place and why. And I've been stumbling upon stuff that I never thought I'd see in North Korea. Ski resorts, an international children's camp, lots and lots of water slides, markets where people buy and sell things, schools and fields, fruit factories, coal shipments, limestone mines, burial grounds, prison camps in the cities and the mountains, lots of strange looking buildings, stadiums and tracks, sports fields, empty roads and empty squares, Christian churches, a turtle-shaped building, apartment blocks where rich people live. I mean, you stumble upon some
turtle-shaped building. I want to live in a turtle-shaped building. I love turtles. See you, Ricochet. Thank you for hanging out. Have a good night.
pretty wild stuff when you just scour every inch of the satellite map. I've also been talking to experts who spend their time looking at the map of North Korea, analyzing it day by day for decades. Their data has been really useful in all of this, and honestly, I'm starting to see North Korea totally...
Yeah, there was a building shaped like a turtle. Yeah, he had a little shell and his little flippers and his little head and his little tail. It was a cool building. It was the cutest building I've ever seen.
A different way. I think been exposed to a very specific version of this country. And that doesn't mean it's an inaccurate version, but it's just one version. Today I want to show you a deeper version. Now the map can't tell us everything, but I'm seeing how it can fill in the blanks in my knowledge of how this country actually works, broadening my perspective on this most secretive kingdom in our world. So buckle up and let's get ready to look at this map. I mean, this whole country is under one giant surveillance. And I guess while we're talking about surveillance, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, which has a lot to do with surveillance, because all of us are actually surveilled, whether we like it or not. I guess if we're on the internet, which you're on the internet right now, so you're being surveilled. A very lucrative app. I mean, first things first, North Korea is a beautiful country.
North Korea is usually viewed as, you know, this hellscape of a place. But it's actually really beautiful. Lots of mountains and hills and rare animals and everything.
Who's watched Crash Landing on You? That show was cute. It's when a South Korean heiress, there's a tornado when she's like paragliding and she gets like carried off into North Korea, and this like heaps hot Korean officer finds her in a tree, you know, and he tells her how to get back to South Korea, but she doesn't believe him, so she runs the wrong way into North Korea, and she's just stuck in like North Korea for like a year, and it's just a really cute, romantic, nice K-drama. Yeah, just thought I would bring that up. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's really nice. It's really, really funny and really, really cute, and I like it a lot.
It's home to this huge mountain range. Among these rugged mountains, you've got this volcano, Mount Paektu. It's kind of a sacred spot for North Koreans. It's where their legends say their great leader Kim Jong-il was born. Incidentally, it's
yeah, the young soldier got kids when they come to South Korea. That's so cute. That is the cutest story. That's like my favorite. That's like my favorite part of them, because they're so adorable. Aww, I love that show. They were the best. They were the best part. Like the love story and stuff was like super cute, but they were the most endearing characters. They were so cute. I loved them so much. I think I've seen that series like 2 or 3 times. I'll probably watch it again like in a year, because I just really like it. It's so cute.
right on this border, actually. Half of Mount Paektu is on the Chinese side. China, North Korea. North Korea can get really cold and snowy. It's home to between 20 and 30 million people. It's about half as many as live in South Korea. And it was the war in the 1950s that created these two Koreas.
Mount Paektu is the sacred mountain of Korea. It's like in their national anthem, and it's really, really sacred to Koreans. And yeah, they can't go to it because it's in North Korea.
And in the process turned what is now North Korea into dust. Today, North Korea is built around a few major cities. Here's the 10 most populous. Some have ports, some are up on the border with China, and then there's this river city of Pyongyang. This is the capital. A lot of this had to be redesigned from scratch because the country was destroyed in the Korean War.
I think from memory, and I could be getting this wrong, but I think from memory, where Seoul is used to be called Hanyang because it's on the Han River. And yet Pyongyang is, a river city as well. I believe because there's been a few different kingdoms in Korea. There's been like the Shilla era. Obviously, the Choson is the most famous one that we know, that only ended at the beginning of the 20th century when the Japanese invaded and occupied, and they ended the Choson dynasty. And then there were the three kingdom period of Korea. Yeah, I think so. I watch way too many K-dramas, guys. I love the historical K-dramas. They're really cool too. I mean, what don't I like, really? I watch all of them. I have a problem even learning to speak Korean so I can fold the washing while I watch K-drama without having to read the subtitles. You learned about the 3 kingdoms from Civ 6? Yeah. Yeah, I think they had to add Korea as like a playable country because so many Koreans play Civilization, right? Like they had to actually just add it to the game. They just be taking over all the games like StarCraft and all of that, all the esports.
War. The country itself is designed in line with this North Korean communist ideology of a human body. The great leader is the brain, and then the members of his single-party government represents the nervous system that connects his will to the masses. The masses are the bones and the muscle, the ones who carry out the work of building this country. The country is supposed to act as one, serving the will of the brain, the great leader. And what I'm seeing is that this kind of body configuration allows them to do some pretty unique things. First and foremost, military. Most countries spend like between 1% and 4% of their GDP on military. North Korea spends like between 20 and 25% of their GDP on their military. And we've got the data on what that looks like. Whoa, okay, settle down, big boy. Oh God. Look at this. Oh my lord, look at this. I don't think I've ever seen so many yellow push pins in my life. It kind of reminds me of that map of like saunas in Finland. Places like a fortress. You can see that a lot of this is concentrated down here on their southern border. This is the DMZ. It's actually a 4-kilometer thick border. And technically within this 4 kilometers, there's supposed to be no military stuff. That is, if you don't count the thousands of landmines that are there left over from the Korean War and that North Korea continues to plant. But in terms of weapons, most of it is right here on the border of the DMZ, where North Korea has 900 artillery guns that are aimed right at Seoul, South Korea. In the event of a conflict, these guns could fire 10,000 rounds a minute at South Korea, which would make good on their promise to turn South Korea into a sea of fire, which they often.
Apparently, like, support for reunification amongst young people is really, really low now, because the people that, like, especially the families and stuff that did get, you know, separated, a lot of those people are dying out now. It's only like older people, the elderly people that have, like, you know, brothers or sisters, or, you know, I guess some people have grandparents and stuff like that that are stuck in North Korea. But a lot of people in South Korea, apparently, like, the support for reunification has gone like right down. They just aren't really interested at this point. But I think the longer, you know, they're two separate countries, I think the bigger the cultural gap will be if they ever do reunify. Like, you see the problems that defectors have when they defect from North Korea. They have a lot of trouble assimilating, and like the dialect is very different, even the language is different. And look, like, there are dialectal differences in South Korea anyway. Like, someone from Busan will have like a Busan, you know, they'll speak in a Busan like dialect or whatever. It's like how people in Osaka speak like differently. Like Kansai in Japan like has a different dialect of Japanese than the rest of Japan. It's kind of like that. But as the countries are set, like, the longer the countries are separated, the like more, you know, the bigger the gulf is gonna grow culturally. Like, they do speak the same language and they do have the same history, but yeah, they're obviously like somewhat evolving in isolation now. So it will be interesting to see what happens.
Make towards their southerly neighbor. Now, reminder, it's not just North Korea. If we were mapping American or South Korean military assets, you'd see a lot of those too on the southern side, down here. But we are looking at North Korea right now. At underground bunkers.
Axe H wants to get pegged. Do you want to get pegged? That's he wants to get pegged, guys. What do you reckon? Should we how should we facilitate that? I think you can probably pay someone to do that for you, mate. I myself, I do not provide those services, and if I did, you would not be able to afford them, sir. So, look, I'm not here to judge. If you like getting pegged, go with Go with God, my son. You can afford. No, you really can't. I guarantee you can't. The price of my dignity comes with a very, very high price tag. Well, it would be, if you're a multimillionaire, it would be at least all the money you have and then some more. Like, you would have to sell your organs. You would have to promise me your firstborn child. We'd have to perform a blood ritual so that I could, like, siphon off their life force. It would be a whole thing, mate. Like, I appreciate that you really want to get pegged, and you know, I support your lifestyle. I really do. But yeah, go with God, my child. I'm not the one to provide you with that service, so Godspeed.
Missile launch sites, nuclear reactors, airstrips, naval bases. So you've got the thousands of landmines, and of course this little pavilion where soldiers from both sides stand meters apart. This is where the countries have their diplomatic talks. You've got 1,000 observation posts, 300 checkpoints and roadblocks, tons of military facilities that support the soldiers here. And then, of course, tunnels. Man, you're going to see a lot of underground stuff here. North Korea is covered with these things, and this is just the ones we know of. One explanation for these tunnels is that during the Korean War, this country was basically flattened. Almost every building was turned to dust by American bombs. So a huge part of the North Korean psyche is this paranoid fear of...
Yeah, hit him with the Midnight Hammer Hyperbovian. It's not quite a strap-on, but they still might appreciate it. It is kind of like getting rooted in a way, so they might appreciate the band hammer. Go for gold Hyperbovian.
Air power. They designed their defense strategy to be ready for if that ever happens again. So you have a lot of these fortified bases and tunnels. Some of them are for weapons storage, and some of them are for invasion. Like down here on the DMZ, they secretly dug a bunch of tunnels that are kilometers long that go under the DMZ. This would allow them to move troops into South Korea very quickly. I actually went into one of these tunnels that had been discovered by South Korea. But these tunnels also have another purpose. And in fact, the military itself, a big portion of it, is dedicated to protecting one family. You'll see this in the capital. This is the barracks that houses some of the 100,000 bodyguards meant to protect the Kim family. This hill is like a giant bunker. It's home to a bunch of military installations, some of them deep underground, a lot of them connected through tunnels. And this is one of the many escape plans that the Kim family has in case of an attack. They can escape on an armored train or in one of the helicopters that is stored inside of this hill. There's rumors that there is another huge tunnel system on the northern border that would allow the Kims to sneak into China if they needed to.
See, they know all about the tunnels, so how come Israel doesn't know about all the tunnels? Because this is like actually a comparable scenario, right? Because North Korea obviously borders South Korea. They obviously have a lot of tunnels. Gaza obviously is right next to Israel proper. And South Korea they seem to know where all the tunnels are. Very interesting. Just interesting to me.
Just the amount of effort put into the security of the Kims themselves versus, you know, helping out your average person. I don't think people really realize the amount of security infrastructure that they have.
But it's not all underground. The country is littered with 1,500 guns and missiles that are meant for shooting down aircraft. A third of those, by the way, are concentrated around Pyongyang, the capital. Like, look at this one. Pretty funky looking from above. Here in the middle of this field, you've got the Air Force. The Air Force is one of their larger military branches. And then you've got their Navy, which has a bunch of submarines. A lot of them not totally operable, experts think. But in a recent video we made on submarines, we calculated at least 36 operable submarines hanging out in bases like this. Now look at their missile sites. Missiles, rockets, nuclear weapons are a big deal for this regime, and especially the most recent leader, who, as you can see from this graph, has really ramped up the testing of all of this. These missiles have all kinds of different ranges, but the longest ones can go 12,000 kilometers away. I mean, that puts a lot of the world in range, including the United States. Many of those are up here in these mountain bases, where they store these missiles and where they can launch them. But lately, they've also been trying to send up non-weapons into space. This launch pad is where, over the last couple of years, they've tried to put satellites up into space.
It's put a satellite in orbit. There's only about 11 or 12 countries around the world that have ever put a satellite in orbit.
We're not going to be able to finish this, guys, because it's already 11:05. And I don't know about you, but I have trouble getting up on Monday morning. Like, it's the most depressing time of my life because another 5 days again, and then the next week again, and then the next week again. But we'll watch like another 10 minutes, and then I reckon we'll call the stream. But I'll probably have more interesting videos to watch tomorrow. Hopefully we'll we'll probably find some more funny, light-hearted videos to watch. Maybe watch some videos about some creeps. I don't know. Had someone in here wanting to pay me millions of dollars to get pegged. So, you know, it's, any goss today? I mean, there was some Twitch goss. It was just, that Ludwig guy. Is that how you say his name? I don't even care, really. He had that Bureau Kart party. There was a big streamer, Mango, who's apparently like a melee kart player. How would I feel to do streaming full time? Yeah, if I can, like, I actually have been doing pretty well. Like, I've only been streaming, I think, for 5 weeks, coming up to 6 weeks now. Apparently, like, I'm pretty ahead of the curve in terms of, like, establishing an audience. If I could stream full time, that would be amazing because it's a lot easier than the work that I do. And just health wise, it would be so sick to just stay inside all day and just, you know, just become a proper shut-in. That would be so convenient for me. I would love it. Yeah, I hit 100 subs on YouTube today, and I think I've only had my YouTube channel for like four and a bit weeks. So apparently that's pretty good. I was reading like how long it usually takes people to get to 100 subs, and but I've just been like farming shorts of me just saying stupid stuff. So oh, it would be so great for my lupus because, like, fatigue is so hard. I find it really, really hard to stay alert at work and focus. But being a bimbo on the internet is, like, fine because people actually kind of find it endearing. So if I'm just a little airhead that can't think properly on the internet, like, that's kind of fine. People like it, so... Yeah, because I always say really, like, silly things. I just word vomit, and people seem to find it amusing. So, I mean, well, yeah, we'll keep on farming those for as long as we can. But I'll just at least finish this segment of the video, and then I reckon everybody has to go and brush their teeth and put on their pajamas if you wear them. I mean, I know some people don't, but what happens if your house burns down? What will the fire brigade think? You have to think about that. Brush your teeth. If you're a girl, do your skincare routine. We all know how important that is. Yeah. Brush your hair if you're a girl. Put it in a protective hairstyle so you don't wake up with knotty hair. And that's the way we do it.
The military is core to keeping the Kims in power, which is why they often show it off. I love this video from The Guardian.
I was watching a K-drama and there was like this rich family called the Kim family, and my friend didn't realize that like 25% of people in Korea have the surname Kim, and that's like North Korea and South Korea. And he was like, oh, so like is that like Kim Jong-un's like cousin, or like how are they related? And I'm like, they're not related. Yeah, I thought I would give you guys a bit of a treat. Here's some sexy communist legs, guys. The communists do keep their legs sexy. It was really funny because like Park, Lee and Kim make up like 40% of the surnames in Korea. And God bless, they didn't know.
They know when one of these things is going to happen because there's like a replica of the Kim Il-sung Square, the big central square, where all of these soldiers get together and practice. And so whenever they see activity in that practice square, they know that they're getting ready for one of these. So the military is a very important part of keeping the Kims in power. It's used as propaganda, it's used as actual defense, and it's often used to actually like build.
Hyperbovian isn't a boobs or a bum man guy. He's a legs man. We've worked it out. Hyperbovian loves the stems on the ladies.
Build stuff. You've got one of the largest militaries in the world, 1 million plus active duty. They're able to command that to do all sorts of projects, including construction projects, which we're going to look at. One thing you'll see a lot of in North Korea is fences, and not to necessarily keep people from coming in, but more so to keep people from going out. They've spent years building a fence around the entire perimeter of the country, at least 1,400 kilometers, bordering China alone. Here's all the security outposts. I mean, this fencing goes through all kinds of terrain, including dug into the beach. And a lot of this was built recently, as more and more people have been trying to escape. And then within the country itself, there are barriers that control people's movement. The country has checkpoints at the province borders to make sure people aren't moving around without permission. So yeah, a lot of people can't get out of North Korea, but some can. In fact, there's a whole network of IT professionals, North Korean like engineers, who interview for Western tech jobs, get hired, and then pass money and information back to the North Korean regime, all without their employer knowing it.
Okay, I'm about to try to conduct a job interview for the first time in my life. I reached out to David Wensky, a senior software engineer, and he responded to me 3 hours after I reached out, but I'm not actually hiring anybody. And I don't think David Wensky is actually who he says he is.
This is a big rabbit hole that is very juicy, and my colleague Christoph went down that rabbit hole in a new video that's live right now over on his channel. His show is called Tunnel Vision. It is very good, and this story about IT espionage and money funneling back to North Korea is incredibly wild, how deep Christoph was able to get. So you should go check that out. The link is in the description.
There's a city that borders like on the Chinese North Korean border. I can't remember what it's called. I can just remember what like noodle dish they have there because that's how my brain works. I'm very food motivated. But yeah, you can just go there and like talk to North Korean people because they're always crossing to and fro for work. So you can talk to a real live North Korean person. I think I'll do that. I'm like saving really, really hard right now because I want to go to Japan and South Korea next year because the Australian dollar is just really strong right now. Yeah, Dandong. That's the city. The Australian dollar is really strong right now against the yen and the won and the Korean won. So I really, really want to go. Like, it's been a dream for like forever, really. So yeah, hopefully like it should be quite affordable and yeah, because I'm just somebody that like can travel cheaply because I will just walk around on foot and look at things and like I always read about every single historical site before I go, so I don't like need to pay for tours and stuff because I'm like I am the tour guide. I have memorized all the information. Yeah, it's just I'm just really, really hoping that I can get it together.
Okay, so a lot of this stuff probably isn't that surprising to you. This is the kind of stuff we see on the news, the stuff that gets covered a lot, the military, the missiles, the control. But now I want to get to the part of this country that really led me to this video in the first place, which is the stuff that we don't see very often, to try to expand my understanding of what it is like to live in North Korea. What is life like in these cities, out here in the rural areas? How do they make stuff? Where do they get their food? Entertainment, community. Turns out that between defector testimony, state news, and the satellite map, you can actually learn a lot about this stuff. A lot of North Korea's cities were designed from scratch after the city was turned into rubble because of the Korean War. And because of that, they have very unique design that is meant to fulfill a certain objective that is in line with North Korean ideals of controlling people, unifying people, and continuously celebrating their leaders and the struggle of their continuous revolution. So, many of us have seen the capital, we'll get to that, but I want to look at these other cities. A lot of North Korean cities are built around a big central.
Yeah, a lot of villages in North Korea don't have power at night. You're 100% right. They don't. They have to use candles and stuff like that. That's why so much of the map is black at night. It's usually, and it's like an elite class because, like, you know, it's kind of like an Animal Farm type of things. Like, we're all equal, but, you know, 2 legs are better than 4 sort of situation where, like, everyone that lives in Pyongyang is like the, you know, the more elite class. That's why, like, a lot of them live in apartments and they have electricity and stuff where, like, everybody else doesn't, and they have enough food to eat and, like, everybody else doesn't.
Square like this. A lot of them have these circles that look like they're hand drawn. The square is kind of the middle of the city, and then you have these massive boulevards that kind of frame out the city. Now you'll quickly notice in a lot of these cities that these boulevards are pretty empty. You see a lot more buses than you see private cars. Oh, and you see a mosque every once in a while. I've tried to get to the bottom of what the deal is with these mosques. North Korea has a couple of these churches or mosques that are mostly there for optics, from what I can tell. More on that in a little bit. So yeah, you've got these empty boulevards, lots of empty squares that lead to these kind of grand spaces. Now, these spaces are often punctuated with some kind of monument. Here's one. Here we go, Central Square. I mean, we can go back in time too and sort of look at the historical imagery. Huge boulevards, often very empty. Oh, boom, look, someone's visiting. So when you see people, you often see them in huge groups like this. At least that's what I've noticed from above. When there's people, there's a lot of them and they're all very close. But oftentimes this stuff is empty. Oh, look, here's a bunch of people lined up in near perfect geometry on this square. Every major city has a stadium. Now, some of these are in kind of bad shape, but some are really nice. Sports is a big deal in North Korea.
Some of the sports that are popular in North Korea, they do very well. So they're definitely, in some areas, sort of hitting above their weight, I think.
Though defectors do report that sometimes a stadium like this one in particular has been used for public executions or public shamings.
Oh, God.
A big part of the control regime in North Korea is to publicly punish to keep people in line. Okay, and then recently the government declared that every city needs to have one of these. Check this out. There are around 170 of these traffic parks, and these are new, but these are very important to North Korean cities.
Oh, it's kind of cute.
Remember all those empty streets? Like, most people don't own cars in North Korea. They go on buses. But recently, that's kind of changing. There's even a car company that puts together, like, kit cars and sells them in North Korea. They're one of the few companies that actually advertise.
Oh, I accidentally went over the segment I was supposed to watch. Yeah, I might find something short to finish off the stream. I mean, we'll probably finish this video later. It's not, yeah. I guess I will give the creator a shout out. Don't Ethan Klein me, please. What's actually happening in North Korea? From Johnny Harris. We'll give you a like. Ooh. Yeah, I'm buggered, guys. I gotta get ready for bed. Ugh. Johnny in Korea. Johnny Somali in Korea. He's having a good time, I hear. Alright, well, thank you for hanging out, guys. Any chance of making a Discord? Yeah, we did make one. Well, I did make one. If you put... There you go. Stream Elements, good bot. I didn't remember what the I don't think anyone signed up to it yet though, because I don't know. I just made it and then didn't tell anyone about it. I also made a bunch of like emotes today. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, guys. It's been fun. Haven't been asked to peg anyone in a while, so that was that was fun. All right. See you next time. Bye.